Inside a giant sequoia in the heart of an ancient forest, a terrible secret had been kept for 2 decades. 4 people who had been missing for all that time were there. They hadn't just been killed, they had been hidden in a way that no one could ever have imagined. When the tree finally revealed its secret, it raised even more questions. August 23, 2020, Sequoia National Park, Northern California. 2 rangers, Dave and Sarah, were doing a routine patrol after a severe storm had swept through the region a couple of days earlier. The storm had knocked down several trees and broken many branches, and their job was to assess the damage and check the safety of the trails. They had been working in this park for several years and had seen it all, but this day would be the last day of their old lives. They turned off the main trail and headed deeper into the forest, to a part of the park where tourists rarely venture. The air was heavy, smelling of wet earth and pine needles. Ahead, they could see one of the giants, an old sequoia that all the local rangers called the king of the forest. The tree was enormous, at least 2,000 years old. The hurricane had not knocked it down, but it was severely damaged. About 10 meters above the ground, there was a fresh crack in the trunk, and at the very base, a large piece of bark had broken off, exposing a dark void inside. Redwoods are often hollow inside due to forest fires that burn out the core, but the tree continues to live. This was a common occurrence. The rangers moved closer to assess the extent of the damage and whether the tree posed a threat to visitors, even if they didn't come here often. Dave shone his flashlight into the hole at the roots. It wasn't very big, maybe a meter high. It was dark and damp inside. Then they smelled something. It wasn't just the smell of decay that was common in the forest. It was a different, sickening, sweetish smell of decomposition that was unmistakable. At first, they thought that some large animal had died inside. Perhaps a bear had crawled in and died. That had happened before. Dave asked Sarah to shine her flashlight too, so they could get a better look at what was inside. The beams of light picked out a pile of old rags, some trash and branches from the darkness. But then the light fell on something white and smooth, something that was too regular and round in shape. Dave froze. It was a human skull. He told Sarah to step back immediately and call the sheriff on the radio. He remained by the tree, unable to look away. As his eyes adjusted to the darkness inside the trunk, he began to make out other details. Bones, lots of bones, ribs, vertebrae, and long bones from arms and legs. And they were mixed with the remains of clothing, a faded flannel shirt, a piece of denim, a rotting boot. It became clear that there was more than one person there. Panic began to set in, but Dave was an experienced ranger and forced himself to remain calm. He understood that he was at a crime scene and that nothing should be touched. An hour later, the first officers from the Tulare County Sheriff's Office arrived. The area was cordoned off. News of the discovery quickly reached park management and then the FBI, as the crime had been committed on federal land. The place turned into a hive of police, agents, and forensic scientists. The work was challenging. It was almost impossible to extract the remains from the narrow space inside the tree without damaging them or destroying evidence. Forensic scientists had to work for hours in uncomfortable positions, carefully, inch by inch, dismantling the horrific contents of the giant sequoia. They used special tools to hook bones and fragments of clothing. The work took almost 2 days. When it was finished, the results of the preliminary examination stunned everyone.